Hey guys, welcome back to 10 out of 10,
a collective lifestyle channel featuring 10 best friends.
This is our collab video,
and for today's video, we're going to be talking about our horror customer stories when we were working in our previous roles or jobs that we currently have right now.
Sometimes retail and food service brings out the worst in customers. Not saying that the people were bad, but sometimes it just doesn't work out well. Anyways, so just a disclaimer, we are not going to be saying any company names or real names in general. We're just gonna keep it confidential and just story based. So we hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into this.
So it was a regular day. I was the key holder at the time, and a woman came in, and she seemed like a regular customer. Other than the fact that she was barefoot, it seemed a little bit weird, but at the same time, I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. She went straight to me and already knew what size and what style she wanted. I brought her the shoes and I tried to be as polite as possible. And she put on the shoes. She looked at herself in the mirror for maybe 2 seconds. And she straight up started speed walking to the door, and I knew she wanted to make a run for it. So my ran after her. I don't know what was going through my head, but here I was risking my life for a corporation that I worked part-time at. So I signaled to my coworker, hey, call security, and I ran after her. She just left the doors of the store when I stopped right in front of her. And she tried to dodge me, but I stepped in front of her, and she rolled her eyes and she tried to shove me. But in that moment, I was so angry that I was like, excuse me, miss, you didn't pay for these shoes. I'm gonna have to ask you to come back inside and pay for them, otherwise you can't have them. And she tried to push me, but I was also scared because, you know, I didn't want to get in trouble with my boss. Anyways, luckily there was a security guard who was passing by, and I saw him and I was like, excuse me, please help me. I was shaking, and once the woman noticed that there was a security guard there, she went back into the store and she was kind of annoyed, and she was like, oh, like I have to pay for these shoes, like what? So I told the security guard, she tried to walk out the shoes, can you come in and be there so we feel kind of safe? Like, isn't that their job? He said that he can't come in the store, he can only wait at the doorway, which I don't really understand. I was like, okay. So he stood at the doorway to make sure that she didn't make a run for it again, and so the customer paid for the shoes. I made a point to make a note in my end of day notes, do not let this customer come into the store and don't serve this customer, final sale, no non-refundable. Yeah, she left with the shoes with no box. I never saw her again. This customer was definitely a 10 out of 10, a nightmare out of 10, an 11 out of 10, the worst possible score. Just simply terrifying.
My story happened a few years ago when I worked in a retail store at a mall downtown. I was a cashier working on her closing shift, and the store was not too busy. Since we have to make our sales goal for the day, I had to step out of cash and helped on the floor. I helped these two girls, and we're gonna call them A and B. So I cashed out A, who bought 2 bralettes, but her and her friend were looking a little sketchy, so I made sure that I entered all her information in our system. In my head, I said, she probably lying to my face right now, but it's okay. So I walked them out of the store and they beeped. I said, sorry guys, I have to check your bags. Maybe I forgot to remove the sensor tag. I know that I removed those because it's an automatic reflex for me when I cash someone out. But before she handed me that bag, B goes, I'm just gonna go to the washroom. Hey, do you want me to bring your backpack? At this point, in my head, I was like, girl, why you bring your friend's backpack to the washroom? I have never seen anyone ask to bring someone else's personal bag with you to the washroom. Before A responded, I said, oh, sorry, I have to check that first. It's protocol. So I checked her shopping bag, no sensor tags. I opened A's backpack, and there it is, a small Sherpa backpack that I did not scan, and tags are still attached. AKA, you're busted. I said to A and B, give me 1 second, I just need to speak to my manager. Surprisingly, they didn't run away. So my manager and I walked up to them and asked, "Would you like to purchase this as well?" She said, "Yeah, sure, I can do that." This girl was probably so embarrassed, but also, why didn't you just pay for it in the first place? Anyway, she paid for it and she left the store. Until this day, I find it so funny because I could tell she was so nervous. But also, it was exciting because that was my first theft experience.
This particular day, it was pouring outside and people didn't really want to be outside in the rain, so they'd come into our store to just window shop. And this one guy comes in, he's already looking a little sketchy with like a bunch of backpacks on, and he comes in like soaking wet with like a box of shoes, and he was saying that he wanted to return it. The thing with my store is that usually you can return almost anything as long as it has the tags on and everything. So this guy comes up trying to return this pair of boots, but when you inspect it, it looks visibly used. It's like soiled on the inside. There's a bunch of scuff marks on it. There's rocks between the like the bottom part, the grip of the shoes, and it's like soaking wet and it smelled. And so I had to like bring up my supervisor and ask him like, hey, I don't think we can take these back. The tag wasn't even matching the pair of boots, but the person was insisting and he was getting kind of aggressive and everything, so we had to kind of like make it work. But we told the guy like, these shoes look like dirty, they look used, you can't really return those. So this guy was like, okay. He left. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna see him for a bit. And then maybe like half an hour to 45 minutes later, he comes back with the same box and the same pair of shoes. But it looks like he washed the shoes under like the tap and like got all the rocks out. But the shoes were still wet. So my supervisor just basically told me to just take the shoes back. It doesn't matter. The guy left and I haven't seen him again since. What a fun time. Anyways, that's retail for you.
During late morning, there was a man who came in and I immediately knew who the customer was and knew that it was going to be a bad experience from my previous interactions with him. So as the supervisor, I took the initiative to take care of him and tried my absolute best to not tilt him in the wrong way. To start off, when I was taking his order, he ordered a frappuccino and it was hella customized. So he didn't even bother telling me the rest of it, as he said, "I'll tell you how to make it." So I went on to make the drink and he was hovering over the counter watching me very, very, very closely. And at this point, I was really nervous. When I took out the milk pitcher, he immediately asked for a new bag of milk and I politely told him, "This is quite new since I opened the bag not too long ago." He proceeded telling me how to make his drink and I was getting tilted as he started yelling at me and swearing at me when I would do something quote unquote wrong. I tried my best to keep my composure and even told him that he needs to lower down his voice because I noticed that it was disrupting other customers. I continued to make his drink and he would continue yelling and swearing at me for making it wrong. And keeping in mind, I know I wasn't making it wrong because his instructions were very clear and very detailed. So I think I remade his drink about 2 to 3 times at this point. And by then, I was really overwhelmed at this point. So I looked behind me and my boyfriend, who was my coworker at the time, was there. And I asked him to finish the drink because I could not handle that customer's aggression anymore. Also keeping in mind, during that time, it was really busy and the customer put us behind. So after that experience, when that customer comes back to the store, I would legit like feel a rush of anxiety and would feel really, really nervous that I would shake and would hide from him and make sure that he doesn't see me because I don't even want to interact with him at all, or I don't want him to see me, I don't want to see him. So yeah, and that is my worst customer service experience.
The story that I'm going to be telling is a story of when I used to work at a tea shop. And in this tea shop, the location, we got a wide range of customers, interesting ones that I could never tell who I'm going to be getting that day when I'm working. And so on this very specific shift that I was working, a customer walks in, and at first glance I could already tell that this might not be a real customer, but gotta be nice to everyone. And I did my whole spiel of, "Hi, how are you? Welcome to tea shop. Was there anything you were looking for? Any specific tea you were looking for?" And we were having decent conversation, and then he brings up, "Do you know about mushroom teas, or do you guys have mushroom teas?" I'm like, oh, no, I don't have that, or we don't have that in the store, but was there anything else I can help you look for, like some other benefits of this mushroom tea that you're talking about? And I already knew what type of mushroom tea I was gonna be talking about, but I'm gonna just entertain it. And I just kept going on about the conversation, and he basically did a whole sales pitch of why mushroom tea was the best tea and why we should start selling it. And I have no control over it, but I just kept listening to this guy talking about mushroom tea and its benefits, and I'm like, sure. And yeah, that was basically it. And not the worst horror story, but just the interesting story of customers I get. And in terms of rating, I would give the guy like a 2. There was times I wanted to dip out and just leave and be like, nah, we don't have that. And I'm like, see you later. But nah. So yeah.
So for my customer service horror story, I had a stalker. But before I start, if you ever come across this video, I am really sorry. 3 to 4 years ago, I worked in retail as a sales associate. So one day during my shift, I was cashing out customers, and this one particular customer was purchasing a button-up blouse. He was about my age, but I never thought of him in any other way other than just a customer. I performed my regular procedures of cashing out a customer until he responded with a question that kind of shook me. He said, "You go to blank church, right?" My face lit up in surprise. I responded with a simple, "Yeah." He next asked, "Your parents are part of the choir, right?" I looked at him in disbelief. How would he know that? He immediately replied and mentioned that he goes to the same church that my family and I go to every Sunday and would see me from time to time. I noticed the line for checkout started to pick up and mentioned I need to cash out the next customers. There, he left. After a couple of days during my next shift at work, I was assigned at the front of the store to greet customers. Greeting everyone that walked in, a customer walked right into the store that seemed familiar. A face that I've seen before. It was the same guy. We had a bit of small talk, and I realized that we had a number of mutual friends. But there was more that he knew about me. He actually knew my sister and met her a while back. Like, what are the odds? He worked at the building across the mall from where I work, and slowly, every couple of shifts each week during his break, he would drop by, say hi, and have a casual conversation with me. And eventually, during one of my shifts, he asked for my social media, and I didn't think of anything at first and thought maybe he just wanted to be friends since we had a lot of mutual friends. There was a point when my schedule at work changed and I ended up working only weekends in which he was off during the weekends. One time my manager told me someone was asking for me and mentioned he was a regular that would always drop by the store. At one point, he ended up Snapchatting me a picture of the plants that we saw at the store with the caption, "These plants look lonely, and so am I." And from that moment, I realized he was trying to pull a move and I got kind of thrown off. I realized I might have come off as too friendly to this customer, and I have to be honest, ever since then there were times where I would hide in the back room and ask my coworkers to signal a sign if he entered and wait until the coast was clear to avoid any small talk for when he would drop by. Through a series of events, eventually I mentioned to him my intentions and let him know I didn't see him in that way, and from that point on, my stalker fled.
Okay, this next story was like a while ago. Like, I don't really remember when he came in, but I know it was like during the summertime. And this guy comes in and he says, "Oh, it's actually my birthday. Can I have like my free birthday drink?" I was like, "Yeah, can I just see the code to like scan it off that it's a free drink?" And he's like, "Oh, where would I find that?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's usually on your store app, or they should have emailed you a notification that you got this free drink." And then he was like, "Okay, yeah, let me find that." I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure. Is it okay if I just like help other customers while you find that on the side?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So he steps on the side, tries to look for it on his phone. Okay, it was going well. I was like, "Okay, yeah, he's finding it on his phone." I'm helping like 2-3 customers. I was like, "Oh, have you found it?" He's like, "Not yet, I'm still looking." I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure." Helping other customers. He comes up to me like after like 3 minutes, and I was this close. Literally, I was on the page to be like 100% off because like he's already having this trouble. It's his birthday, you know. He tried to look for it, he can't find it. I'm like this close to giving him the drink for free, just like with no verification. Comes up all mad and he's like irritated and he's like, "You know what? I don't know how you're doing this on someone's birthday. Like you're an." I was like, whoa. I was having a good day, bud. And because he's taller than me, I'm like this. "Did you just call me an?" And he's like, "Did you just call me an a customer?" And I was like, "No, I didn't call you an asked if you called me an." And then my shift supervisor comes up and she hears me being upset. And so my shift supervisor is like talking with them and she's like, whoa, like, "I'm so sorry, sir." Like, she can't like tell him to like calm down. So she was like, "Oh my gosh, sir, like we want this experience to be great for you." And then she gives him the free drink. I got verbally abused, irritated, and this guy gets a free drink. he gets his free drink, and I'm there on the side near the exit door, and I'm like talking to my shift supervisor about what just happened. This guy is walking out with his drink. Pretend I'm walking out. He's like, hey, sorry, yeah, thanks again, sorry about that. Sips his drink, and he's like, sorry. And I'm there like, it's gonna be nice now? Like, no.
Yeah, these are our customer service horror stories.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you guys got some laughs from our experiences in retail. Honestly, retail is really fun. It's just sometimes it can get really challenging.
If you guys want to see more of this, let us know in the comments down below, and let us know actually any customer experience that was memorable for you, whether you're the customer or the retail worker.
Be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and also hit the notification bell so that you know when our next video has dropped.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram. Our handle is at 10.out-of.10. All of our other social media links will be down below. And also, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and also share this video out to your friends.
And have a wonderful day. Bye.